been in advertising, worked in Australia, worked in London, and good agencies, worked at Wyden on Nike and ran global accounts. And we've always artifacted or sort of created this connection between brands and consumers, made this emotional connection, whether it was true or not. And I just sat there at the end of 2007 and thought, hold it, this social media thing that allows you to connect through your warm relationships about things you care about and so on, as a brand guy, I just went, that's going to change everything. That is going to change everything because it's shifting the responsibility to make those connections to the people themselves rather than to people like us and advertisers who have to make it up. So it was a gut reaction, and I think there's an absolute revolution that's going on. So I've retooled my entire career with that in mind, and been swinging the axe at the cherry trees as fast as possible. So I'm a big believer. And really, one of the other reasons was not just the arrival of social media, but if you look at 2008, which happened shortly after social media in 2007, the one thing I took away from that is that we now live in a mutually dependent global community. What happened on Wall Street affected Main Street, it affected Iceland, Greece, markets in the Middle East, and that mutual dependence really struck me that we're now living in a community-focused business world, and also a global community. And so We First, the book, is really a shift away from the me first mentality that has driven marketing, that's driven business, driven even the way that we consume as consumers. It's driven the way we treat the planet for so long. And based on the arrival of social media, based on the reality of this sort of mutual dependence that we saw in 2008, We First is a new way of looking at the world. What does it mean for leaders? How do you lead a company, a Fortune 500 company, a startup, a non-profit, in a We First way? How do you, as an employee, do your job in a We First way? How do you, as a consumer, buy what you need and live the life you want to lead, but also be responsible in a We First sense? And so the book's theme is how brands and consumers use social media to build a better world. And the only other context I would say for the book was this. I'm a dad, I've got 2 daughters. If you look around the world right now, there's one thing we're painfully aware of, which is government debt. Both in the UK and here, there's been a lot of noise about how much trouble we're in. Secondly, we know that government and philanthropy can only do so much, and the resources dedicated to philanthropy are limited. In which case, where are we going to find the solutions we need? Honestly, where are we going to find it? Are we just going to sort of throw up our hands, or are we going to roll up our sleeves in the face of what's coming? And all this talk about double-dip recessions and Greece defaulting in the next few days and all these different things, where is that change going to come? In which case, myself and other consumers and citizens all around the world are looking to the private sector to play a more responsible role. Why? Because we're seeing the private sector do very well, both in terms of what happened with 2008 behavior since. We know they're sitting on record profits, particularly here in the United States right now, yet we're also aware that a lot of their behavior has negative impacts out there. So we, as consumers and as citizens, are sitting there going, you know what? If you want me to vote with my purchasing power in the shopping aisle, if you want me to vote for you every day at the checkout, I want you to be more socially responsible, because I know we're in trouble, I read the web, people share it with me on social media, and I'm looking for new solutions, and you can't just line your own pocket and keep making things worse for everybody else. And so it's a really interesting time, I think, where, having been a long-time marketer and a lawyer before that, so I'm everything you hate in other people, it's a really interesting time where, as a father, you go, wow, we can really bring all our skill sets to bear on creating the change that we want to see in the world, and in fact, there's not a lot of other options available to us right now. So We First took a deep look at the latest in mobile, gaming, and social technologies, how brands, how non-profits, how startups can use that technology to build communities that drive profit, but also have a positive impact on the world, so that we can actually shore up the well-being of society, make sure there is a middle class to buy our products, and then also be more sustainable for more people as a society at large too, because we continue to add to the ranks of the poor here in the US, the middle class is disappearing, and it's not much better in Europe. And then we've got, the developing world as well. So, it's time to get serious about social change. So that's a bit of context.